Live coverage of election petition hearing at the Supreme Court as it buckles under the weight of a $50,000 daily loss.
We are going to wave the red flag and say, ladies and gentlemen, if this amount of money is not put into our coffers, I'm afraid we will be unable to continue this coverage.
I mean, it shows a lack of depth in their marketing strategy, because what is 10,000 Ghana cedis in a day?
Will government cough up the cash? We'll find out.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
Top Story is brought to you by Bond Financial Services. Your success, our passion. Belacra Mineral Water, the new generation mineral water. It's also brought to you by Lifebuoy, still 100% better germ protection. Also by Blue Rose Limited, Shelter for All, and Star Life Assurance. The Ghana Broadcasting Corporation has come under some sharp criticism for suggesting it may soon stop the live coverage of the ongoing election petition hearing at the Supreme Court. The state broadcaster says it can no longer continue pumping $50,000 daily into the live coverage and may have to stop unless help comes from somewhere, and very soon. That suggestion is tonight attracting sharp criticism from pro-NPP governance think tank Dankwa Institute. We will hear from their executive director shortly. But first, these are the exact words of the Director General of the GBC, Major Retired Don Chebe, who spoke to us earlier.
And therefore, if our airtime is tied up between 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock each day, obviously it's going to have an effect on our revenues. And it's an effect that we have seen because according to our calculations, we are losing about $66,000 a day. And if you convert, you know that is in 130,000 Ghana cedis. And we know we cannot sustain these losses forever. There is a point in time when GBC will just not be able to do the coverage just because we have run out of funds.
Is this something that you brought to the attention of the government or even the judiciary itself?
We have mentioned it informally, but we haven't made a formal application because we are still putting together the numbers. But this is a way of introducing the subject that whilst we are all very happy that we can see, we can hear, we can observe what is happening in the Supreme Court, it is necessary to bring to the notice of Ghanaians that this is at a cost to the state broadcaster. Now, this is a state broadcaster which is already suffering from very low revenues because of the fact that no attempt has been made to review or to revise the TV licensing fee since sometime in the late 90s. And if you want an organization to undertake public service broadcasting, it has to be funded. And therefore, if Ghanaians are happy about seeing the Supreme Court in their living rooms, in their offices, they should understand that it is time for us to introduce the topic of revising the TV license fee.
Well, the Dankwa Institute was the first to call for live coverage of proceedings. So what do they make of GBC's announcement today that live coverage might end soon if help does not arrive from somewhere? We can now speak to Gabi Asare-Otchere-Darko, who's Executive Director of the think tank. Thank you very much, Gabi, for your time here on Top Story. Now, $50,000 a day. Clearly, that is unsustainable. You agree?
I disagree. I disagree because it can be sustained. If indeed it's costing $50,000, it can be sustained. Because you have to ask yourself, first of all, do we consider this live broadcast as an important public interest thing? If so, then how do we fund it? I think today that's the base of it. I mean, is there something that government itself can do? But, beyond that, I will also say, is there something commercial that GTV or GBC generally is not doing? Because without this, the first question we have to ask ourselves, without this, what would GTV be doing? It would be showing certain things that nobody would be watching between 10 and 4. Is that the best time to watch TV? No. But for the first time, they've seen their viewership increased over tenfold.
But is that fair comment? Is that fair comment, really? Because if you listen to GBC director, he's saying clearly, if we're not having this live coverage, we would have been gaining $50,000 a day. So clearly they were making some money.
I beg to differ. Because if they were making $50,000 at a time that was off-peak, and now you have people, about 10 to 20-fold more viewers, okay, than you would have had. Doesn't it give you a commercial value? Isn't there some commercial aspect of this that can be leveraged and hasn't been leveraged? All the other stations that are watching it and taking it from GTV, are they paying anything? All the breaks, the time that pink sheets are being looked at and the rest of it, are there any marketing that they are doing? Is there anything being streamed? Are they devoting a quarter of their page to adverts and the rest of it, which can run concurrently as the live coverage is being done? So there are certain marketing leverage that hasn't been done.
Now,
so
Gabi, you've asked some questions. You've asked some questions. Thankfully, we've just been joined by the Director General himself, Major Retired Don Chebe. Thank you, sir, for your time, sir. I'm assuming that you've heard the questions that Gabi is asking. Do you have any answers to those questions?
Several answers, and thank you, Gabi, for raising all those issues. I can assure you that GBC has taken on board all those issues that Gabi has raised. But a question that we want to ask, and we think that this Supreme Court broadcast brings the issues to the fore, is that we have a beautiful law which gives backing to a TV license fee. Almost everybody seems to have forgotten about that. Now, that law was put in place to ensure that GBC would have enough resources to undertake adequate, proper, and sustainable public service broadcasting. Now, that is something we are all running away from. And maybe this Supreme Court case brings matters to the fore, that this country has to confront the fact that we are losing out seriously in the desire to strengthen our democracy if we do not create and sustain a real public service broadcasting system.
But Major Retired, what about the immediate questions Gabi was asking about thinking about commercializing that coverage? Because indeed, we believe most people at that time will be watching. This is the deep case as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, or courts in Ghana are concerned generally. People must be watching. Can't you commercialize it?
We could commercialize it to the detriment of the case and maybe to the detriment of viewers. But the issue is not to sidetrack the issue. We want to raise this because we believe that there is this public TV license fee, which all Ghanaians are running away from. A TV license fee that was fixed about 18 years ago, which is 30 pesos, 30p, fixed 18 years ago in the light of the inflation that has taken place in Ghana. Why are our policymakers, why are our civil society organizations, why are people like Gabi not asking why a country like Ghana, which wants to strengthen democracy, not looking at effective public service broadcasting? I can assure you...
Let me bring in Gabi. You raised a very important... Let me bring in Gabi now. Gabi has a point, doesn't he?
Oh, he has a point, but I think it's up to the head of GBC to ensure that he gets the revenue, because from the license that he needs to get. Because at the end of the day, he has to raise the issue. He has to really go out there and make sure that they increase the license fee. Because I don't understand why it should be 30 pesos, for instance. And it's been like that for how many years? And what have the MDs or Director Generals, what have they been doing? So yes, it is a legitimate point that he's raising, and I don't run away from it.
Gabi, hold on.
I think they have the responsibility to make sure that, first of all, it is increased, and secondly, it is collected. It is their responsibility.
We will be joined shortly by the Deputy Information Minister. So, Gabi, hold the line for me. Major Don Chebe, let me ask you a question then. I am a journalist. I'm pretty concerned about the warning you gave today that we might have to stop the live coverage. How many more days can you go under the current circumstances?
We know and we believe that this case is probably the most important case that has confronted Ghanaians for a long time. We will do whatever we have to do to ensure that Ghanaians get a full and undistorted coverage of this case. However, this is a legitimate concern that we are raising, that this case is not without cost. And whilst we watch in our living rooms and in our offices and in our homes, let's not forget that some state organization is bleeding because of this coverage that we are all enamored with. But we need to think about who is going to foot the bill.
I want to get some clarity. I want to get some clarity Gabby raised earlier. The $50,000 you mentioned, is it to suggest that that is the amount of money you will normally make during that period that you now use to cover the Supreme Court?
There are several angles to this. You must realize that we have to mobilize an OB van, outside broadcast van, with all its retinue of technicians and film cameramen and sound men, lighting men, various cameras to place permanently at the Supreme Court. Now, at the same time, we have people in the studios who have to do whatever they have to do to ensure that the signals get to you the way you see them. So we have that side. The cost on maintaining this broadcast and all the other things that go with keeping it on air, the transmitter stations, the power, all those things, one. And then two, remember that we live on airtime. We sell airtime. So apart from the cost that comes with deploying all these resources, we then lose the time that we have already programmed for various programs and also sport adverts and what have you. So apart from costs in deploying this stuff, we lose the opportunity to put on to flight adverts, and at the same time, certain sponsored programs we have been compelled to take them off air. So we lose double. We lose both in deploying our staff who can no longer do anything else, and then secondly, we lose airtime. When you put all that together, in fact, my people are telling me it's rather close to $66,000.
$66,000?
Yeah, $66,000.
We are talking about something close to 150,000 Ghana cedis.
Well, something like 130,000, 140,000 Ghana cedis per day. And which organization can sustain this?
Okay.
For how long?
Major Don Chebe, thank you very much for joining us. You've raised the issues. We'll be putting that to the Deputy Information Minister, who will join us shortly. But Gabby, the question you asked there, who should foot that bill?
Well, I think first of all, to me, if the marketing strategy is done well, at least he's used this as an opportunity to raise public awareness in terms of our responsibility to pay our license fee, and also his duty to ensure that the license fee is increased. So that thing he has done well. Marketing-wise, he has done well. In terms of who should foot that bill, clearly, like I said, there's a commercial aspect of it, which I think has been woefully exploited by or if you like, left unexploited by GTV.
But Gabby, come to think of it, this is a state broadcaster, carved in the like of a BBC. How far can they go commercially?
No. BBC is not like BBC. BBC does absolutely no commercials.
But we all want to think that GBC is a public service broadcaster.
But it does more than BBC relies solely on taxpayers.
That's true.
Revenue from the state. But here, it is not like that. GTV has the opportunity. I mean, indeed, it does commercials as well. So how come they are not leveraging it? And I don't think really, if that has to be done alongside the live broadcast, I don't think anybody can begrudge them for that. So first of all, they haven't exploited that. So that is the case. And if they've exploited and they still can't meet the cost, I suppose the state can help. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Maybe the parties involved. Maybe the parties involved. Your party, your institution might consider coming up with some money.
Look, this case has not been broadcast because Akufo-Addo and Bawumia in court. It's been broadcast because of its, overwhelming public interest. So it's not the parties involved. It's the state that should be looking at this if anybody has to cough out, but not the parties involved. I don't believe in that.
Really, what will be the consequence, really, if the live coverage stops? Why should we bother?
First of all, it's getting to, you've gotten to the peak, okay? Everything that's happened before. The most important thing is that now you have the body that conducted the elections being in the box. I don't think DTV had any viewership that went beyond what we saw between 10 and 4 p.m. yesterday, okay? So you have, and I really doubt if we have more than 3-4 weeks left of this trial. It should be over in about 3 weeks. So if they've come this far, I think we should find a way to make sure that we can help them. I mean, if the state has to help, let it be. If GTV can be more commercial than it has been so far, let it be. But with 3-4 weeks left, when you started broadcasting since 16th April, I don't think it's the right time to even consider seriously of pulling out.
Okay, I need to stop you there because I need to stop you there, Gabi. But thank you very much. I've just been joined by the Deputy Information Minister, Murtala Mohammed. Will government cough up the money?
Well, first and foremost, let me say that when your journalist or the gentleman who called me earlier was the fact that they have a challenge and they were considering, stopping the live broadcast because of some of the financial challenges, the amount of money they are losing. But listening to the Director General, I get the sense that they think that it's an opportunity to create awareness of the Ghanaian people, the need for us to pay our
TV licenses.
Yes, that's the impression I get, because he has indicated that yes, this is an opportunity to create awareness.
But it's also a fact that they are losing $65,000.
He also talked about the fact that the amount of money that we've been paying, he expressed his absolute discomfort about that. I just want to ask a simple question, whether indeed GTV has indeed presented in a proposal to the need for the fee or the license fee that we pay to be adjusted. Again, the issue is not just about increasing it, but the ability to take the money. I think that many people who indeed are having TVs are not aware that they are supposed to be paying some licenses. The awareness is not there. The ability to pay the enforcement. I think that is one thing I would suggest that we begin to look at. But you know what, Ivan? When the issue of the live broadcast was brought up, particularly trumpeted by the groups like the
Dankwa Institute,
if government at that time had indicated that the cost was going to be huge, I believe that people would have said government was trying to hide something, because government or the NDC government, which is in power, is an interested party. I believe the jamboree that indeed came with the live broadcast has changed. People have now realized that, in fact, they would have wished this thing was not even done live, because clearly the evidences that are proven are now indeed virtually shredding to pieces the so-called evidences that were submitted.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm just running out of time. Do you have an answer for me? Is government going to come up with the money immediately because they have immediate concern?
Is that Evans? I believe that GTV was well aware the duration of these court proceedings. They were well aware. And I believe that they would have taken into consideration how much it's going to cost them. I don't think they just realized that it is costing them $50,000 or over $60,000 today. I believe that they knew how much it was going to cost them, because proper planning, you would have known how much you're going to lose within a day. And I think that I can't say anything. I just got this information through your medium. But what I'm simply saying is that if GTV had planned very well, I don't think that they would have had this chance. I think groups like Dankwa Institute should also assist.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's Murtala Mohammed. He's the Deputy Information Minister there. I'm grateful for your time. Earlier, he had the Director General of the GBC, Major Retired Don Chebe, also the Executive Director of the Dankwa Institute, Gabi Asare Ochidaku. My name is Evans Mensah.